Hey, Robbie, what's your favorite?
Hi, Serena. My favorite is being home from college and getting to see all my friends again.
Exciting stuff.
Yeah, Serena, what's your favorite?
So my favorite is a book that I read this week. It was called Good Apple, and it's like about this woman who's Christian and she's a Democrat and she lives in New York City, but she grew up down south. So it's like her talking about her, like that big juxtaposition in her life, and it was just really good. I liked it. It was just like stories of her life and stuff with her kids, and it was good. I read it in like a day, so I couldn't.
How long was it?
It was like 350 pages.
And you read it in a day. I could never, but something I do want to try to do is use the word juxtaposition more often in my vocabulary because I love the word juxtaposition.
Well, use it more. It's a great word.
It's hard to use. Like I would have just been like, oh, the changes in her life from the opposite spectrums of where she lived. Like I wouldn't have done the juxtaposition.
I think, so this year I made a goal to read more. So I've read 24 books this year.
Never happening in my life.
So I feel like my vocabulary is...
Well, yeah, for sure. I mean, definitely, like, isn't it like a proven thing that like reading
helps your vocabulary?
Yeah, helps your vocabulary.
Because it's just like, even if you know words, if you don't see them regularly, you won't use them.
Yeah, and I guess reading exposes you to words in different contexts, and therefore you learn to use them in correct contexts.
Yeah, and last week I reread my favorite book of all time, which is Where the Crawdads Sing by Delia Owens. Great book. And I just found out they're making a movie, and I'm so excited.
Well, let's hope it's like one of those where it's actually like a good adaptation, or else it could be a little rough for you. You'd be like, it's my favorite movie, and it's an absolutely, I have a favorite book, and it's an absolutely terrible movie.
Yeah, so I like, if there's a book and a movie, I like to watch the movie first, because every time you read the book first, you're disappointed.
Yeah. Well, I mean, because it's hard to fit, say, a 400-page book into a 2-hour movie. Like, it's almost impossible to do.
But my biggest pet peeve is when they change things that are not necessary to change.
Yeah.
Like, things that they could have easily made
Yeah,
correct.
I feel like they did that a lot in, like, the Harry Potter series.
Yes.
That's what I've heard.
Like, there's a lot of things that they could have done. Like, obviously there's some things you can't fit it all in, whatever. I understand that. But there's, like, simple things, like, I don't know. Just, I hate when they change small things that they didn't have to change.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
But anyway, so you went away to school in August.
I did.
You moved halfway across the country.
I think it's more than halfway.
It is actually.
I'm like a state away from Cali. Like, I can just go and,
Did you ever
go to Malibu? No, so the traveling I did.
Well, where do you go?
Okay, so I go to school in Colorado. Colorado School of Mines. It's a small engineering school in Golden, Colorado. Mm-hmm. It's about like 15 minutes outside of Denver, maybe 20.
Yeah.
But it's really, really awesome, really beautiful. And so the traveling I did do when I was out there, I like met these group of guys that I'm actually living with next year, and we one weekend in like September, October. Like, so I was like just meeting them, like brand new friends.
Yeah,
we were
I remember when you did this.
We were like, let's go to Mount Rushmore. Mount Rushmore is in South Dakota, and South Dakota's about 6 hours away. Mm-hmm. So we woke up Saturday morning, drove 6 hours, and then we camped out at like some campground. We all brought our hammocks, and we we pitched a tent. Yeah. And we just hung out.
Such a manly thing to do.
Yeah, there was like a lake there, and I was like, I love college, and then like I posted a video of the lake.
Yeah,
it was such a guy thing to do. And then we woke up the next day, went to Mount Rushmore, packed up, and drove 6 hours back. And let me tell you, it was an awesome experience.
I was gonna say, was it worth it?
Yes and no, because going to Mount Rushmore, like watching Phineas and Ferb growing up, I'm like, this is gonna be awesome. And then because Phineas and Ferb, well, so it is awesome, but like it's so much smaller in like retrospect.
Oh, really?
Because you're not as close to the mountain as you think you would be.
Okay, so you're far away.
You're pretty far away from the mountain, so like it's super detailed from further away, but you don't get to go as close as you want. But then there's like paths you can walk in the woods, mm-hmm. That get you closer to it. So it's like you can get pretty close to it, like through the paths. But like you want to see it in like the open, so you can observe it.
See the whole thing. Right?
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, but the cool thing about it is like there was people like climbing and stuff, but then there's like a bunch of fences, and because it's federal property, like if you were to get like a trespassing thing, mm-hmm. it's like probably a hefty fine because it's federal property.
Oh, nice.
And then Being out there, it's a very beautiful place. I mean, obviously here in Jersey, it's very beautiful too.
Right.
But
it's just very different.
Very different. You know, I have mountains and whatnot.
Right.
So I did a lot of hiking when I was out there, and I enjoyed all the hikes.
So I went with his family to take him. I'm sure I've talked about it on here before, but it was crazy. Like, it was like nothing I've never experienced, like, mountains before, and it was like I liked it way more than I thought I would, because I'm a beach girl. I love the ocean. I like living on the coast. So I was like, like, I probably wouldn't like it, but I don't know that I would live there, but I really like visiting.
Yeah, it's definitely a great place to visit, especially if we've been like on the coast the whole life. And that's something I do like, is because during the winter, like, you're not going to go to the beach, but you can go to the mountains and, like, ski and snowboard, or even just hike.
Did you ski and snowboard when you were there?
So we were planning on getting a pass, but because of COVID, there were so many restrictions, and like everything, because it had to be limited capacity.
Right.
Everything was booked like
all the time,
months in advance. So we were like,
people travel to go there and stuff.
That's also very true. Like, I had a bunch of friends from New Jersey come, not visit me, but like go out to like Love Ladies or Loveland and Copper, which are just all different types of mountains out there. Yeah. So anyway, we were gonna get passes, but then we ended up two of my friends did. But I think next year I may get a pass. Yeah. But they're also like really expensive, so I don't really know.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be worth it if you're gonna go a lot. But...
Yeah, because you only have to go. It's kind of like getting a season pass to, like, you know, say Disney or Six Flags, whatnot. And if you go 4 or 5 times, it's paid for. So you know, it is worth it in that sense.
So what was it like being away from? Well, you do have some family in Colorado, which is nice. But being away from, like, your immediate family, your sister and your mom.
It was, so at first, I was actually, like, pretty okay. Like, I was doing good. And there was, like, times where I was homesick, and then what was really cool is my mom made me, like, this binder thing. And Serena knows about it because she, like, was in it. But my mom got, like, all these people that were, like, influential for my life, or, you know, just close family members, and, like, my best friends from home, and, you know, from Delanco, and she had them all write, like, just a little, like, going away thing, you know, it's just like, you know, Robbie, I love you, and blah, blah, blah. And I mean, it was different for every person, because everyone has different experiences with me, right?
Yeah, it was a really cool idea.
Yeah, so I would, like, if I was homesick, I would read that, and then I would cry, because then I just got upset. But anyway, the first semester, it was a lot better than I thought it was going to be, but then I ended up getting COVID, so I, like, got, like, put in a room. It was, like, a terrible experience, honestly. I related it to solitary confinement, honestly. Like, that's what it felt like. I was in a room for, like, a week, or, like, a week and 4 days, and just by myself. And then they, like, didn't deliver me food for, like, 2 days. And it was over Thanksgiving, too. And after...
And you were supposed to be home.
Yeah, so then after Thanksgiving, they were closing campus down. And a lot of campuses did this. It was after Thanksgiving, they were going to be sending everyone home. But I couldn't leave campus because I already got COVID. So I had to wait out my COVID thing until I tested negative. And then I could get on a plane to fly home. And it was a terrible experience. But, you know, I guess it's an experience.
Yeah. Was it easier going away than you thought, or harder?
It was... easier first semester, but then second semester I got homesick really, really bad, and I think it was due to the fact that I came home for, like, that month, because I got back December 2nd or 1st or 2nd, and usually I wouldn't come home until, like, the 14th or 15th.
Right, so you had so much extra time home.
So much extra time back, because I didn't leave here until, like, January 10th. So I had a whole month home, and I hung out with my friends, and, you know, I got to see what I was missing out on, catch up. Yeah. Not get FOMO from people's Snapchat stories, right?
Right.
But so then I went back, and, like, I had my, you know, my roommate, he's, like, my best friend out there, and then I also have, like, my girlfriend out there. Right. So it was really great to be back, but I was so homesick my second semester, which shocked me, because I figured it was going to be way worse first semester.
I had the same experience, though. I felt like the first semester was easier because there was so much going on all the time, and then by the time you get into second semester, you're kind of in your routine, you have more time to think, and I remember when I went away to school, like, one of my friends said to me, like, don't come home. Like, don't come home at all the first semester, like, you should stay there the whole time, and I did that, and the second semester I went home more, and so it was harder.
Yeah, so I would say that going away was easier than I thought the first semester, but the second semester I had really bad homesickness. And it was okay for the first like 2 months, but then once I realized I was going to be getting home for the summer and all my friends were going to be out of school and like I was going to have like a great summer, I was like, I need to get home. Because then my friends started hanging out and I was like, oh, I'm so sad. But I got through it, and I had the book. I'd read that when I wanted to cry, right? Because I would cry every time. I read it twice, I think, and I cried both times I read it. So yeah,
it gets like that.
Yeah, but it's definitely like I'm not the home, like my sister's the homebody. Like, I'm not the homebody. I'm like the outgoing and the adventurous. Not saying that Skylar's not either of those things,
right?
But she's more of a homebody than I am. So like it was expected for me to go away, not necessarily as far as Colorado, but
I think everyone knew you were going to go to a 4-year school.
Yeah, so it's definitely a great experience because, it taught me to be really independent, more so than I thought I was going to be. And now that I'm not living, like, on a dorm and I have a house with 5 guys, I have to, like, take care of a house and buy my own food and all the good things and, pay for rent. So it's like, it's going to be an experience, but I'm excited for it.
So this is something I always struggled with when I would come home, because when you're at school, you have freedom. You do whatever you want. You don't have to answer anyone. You just go do what you want. I found when I came home, not that my mom cared what I did, but like having to check in, like I would just always forget because I was so used to having to just not having to do that. Like, just checking in with my mom from school, like I was just doing what I wanted and whatever, calling when I called. But.
Yeah, you're out with your friends at like 3 a.m. and your mom's like, "Where are you?" And you're like, "Oh wait,
I'm sorry,
I have responsibilities."
And just like forgetting to communicate with the people you live with because you don't have to do that when you're at school.
Yeah, because it's like he's your, like my like they're say you live with roommates, right? You live with your roommate, but like you don't have to tell them.
They don't care.
They don't care, and 2, you don't have to like.
There's no one to answer to.
Exactly.
And no one like worried about where you are when you're going to be coming home and all that. So I found that was always a tough adjustment. I would just like leave and forget to be like, "Oh, Mom, I'm leaving." Yeah. And just go because it's just habit. But so your first year, I feel like I didn't really talk to you that much when you were at school. So I feel like what happened? Like how was your first year? Like what?
So first year, I mean, it's different. My first year is going to be different than a lot of people's first years because of COVID. So, like, I expected campus to be, like, bumping. Right. And let me tell you, it was dead. Yeah. Like, campus was so dead.
Do a lot of people that go there live in Colorado and go home on the weekends?
It's not that they would go home on the weekends, but there was a lot of people within like the immediate like hour range that would leave like every couple weekends. So a lot of but also something different was usually they require first years to live on campus, and this year they weren't. So there was the capacity was way down for freshmen because there were so many people commuting, because it is, I'm guessing probably, my guess would be like maybe 75% or like 70% from Colorado, maybe 60. Okay, so because everyone's from Colorado. Yeah, like everyone seems like they're from Colorado, and then you get like
or the surrounding states.
Yeah, exactly. So like, it was a great experience because actually the first couple weeks were a lot of fun because there was like rushing and stuff for fraternities, so Greek life, right? Yeah. So I did rush and I did get into a fraternity. I got into Kappa Sigma, but I like the way they were running, not that the way they were running it was bad or anything, but I got in with like 30 other guys and I had to learn like their name, their home state, or like their hometown and state where they're from, and their degree that they're pursuing. And like, I just didn't want to do that.
I don't blame you.
And like, I'm in college, like, I don't want to like recite that to memory. And like, I also had to like take tests. Like, I got a book about the fraternity, and I had to learn about the fraternity and like their lineage, right? Yeah. And like the history. Yeah, the history of the fraternity. And then I would have to take tests on it. And I was like, no offense, guys.
I take enough tests.
Yeah, I was like, I'm going to be stressing about everything else. Like,
I don't have time for this.
Yeah. And like the rushing process, like it was also going to be from like, I got in September, it would be till like December until like, and then I would officially, get like into it or whatever. Yeah, I don't know, the inducted, that's the word I'm looking for. Thank you, Serena. It's all the reading. So yeah, but that was a great experience because it definitely got me to meet a bunch of people, especially some upperclassmen. And then first semester, my classes were actually not that bad. The only class that I really did not like at all was chemistry. And the times that Serena and I did talk, we would talk about how much I hated chemistry and how much she hated chemistry in college.
Chemistry was the worst experience I ever took in
it was my first C ever. Yeah, it was pretty terrible.
Traumatizing experiences in chemistry.
Yeah.
I also had a horrible chemistry teacher in high school.
It's not that I even had a horrible chemistry teacher. It was actually in high school I did.
I didn't learn anything.
I actually did have I got like points taken off my final grade because I drank a water bottle in class one time.
Okay, but I got a 98 on the test I never took, so more than once. He would be like, what are you feeling? 98 sound good? I'm like, yeah, sure.
I wish. My teacher hated me. Oh, she hated me.
Yeah, no, my teacher was cool, but I didn't learn anything.
Yeah, so then when you got to college, you were like, what's going on? You're like, what's a dipole? I don't know.
And everyone in the class had a base of chemistry that they understood. And like, I remember where I went to school, it was like weird. The professors could see like your grades in other classes, which is not normal.
That is weird.
But she was like, you have all A's. Like, I don't understand why you're struggling in this class so hard. And I was like, because I don't understand chemistry at all. She's like, well, did you take chemistry in high school? I said, yes, but no.
Yes, but no.
So she was like teaching as if everyone already had a baseline.
Had like a little base, yeah.
And I didn't have that. So it was really difficult. And it wasn't even like a Chem 101. It was a Chem 103. So it was...
Oh.
Like, because it was like for nursing, because I went in as nursing majors, like nursing majors took chemistry 103 instead of chemistry 101. So it wasn't even like introductory level.
Oh.
So it was just like...
That'll do it to you.
Yeah, it was not good. I ended up passing the class, but I think I had a C too. Which...
Yeah. Stupid. But other than that, like all my classes were like not as bad as I thought they were going to be.
Yeah. What's your major?
Mechanical engineering. Okay. Well, I was going in as a petro, which is petroleum engineering, which is like, working on oil rigs and fracking oil. But then, like, with Biden getting elected, not to get political or anything, but like with Biden getting elected, I knew that he was a lot more green rather than like Trump. Yeah. So, and then also like fracking oil and like the petroleum engineering industry is a dying industry with, with how 100%. The world's going.
Yep.
So I was like, why don't I just go mechanical? And that's what a lot of people do. Like, we call it mechies, and everyone's like, oh, you're a mechie? Because that's like what, a lot of the majors coming out of my college are. But, it's right. Such a broad spectrum of engineering. Like, I can do almost, like, pick up anything.
Stuff. Yeah.
So, it's like I'm a handyman, like a jack of all trades, whatnot. So it's like I'm doing a mechanical engineering major, and then I want to get a minor in aerospace engineering, which is, because I want to do stuff with rockets or airplanes. So it's, Boeing, SpaceX, Lockheed Martin, all these aerospace or airplane or rocket companies, that's my big dreams. But, wherever I end up going, wherever God takes me, that's just the vibe that we're going to go with. Yeah. But so then my first semester was pretty easy, and then it went all online, because I wasn't all online, I was like half and half, and then at the end of the semester, when all the COVID stuff happened, I was all online, and it was like a breeze, pretty much.
That's good, because sometimes it can be harder.
Yeah, and then I got out of school, and I came home, and I was like, thank God I'm done. Yeah. Well,
you're not done, you got 3 more years.
Oh, nope, not yet.
And probably a master's.
Yeah, if I do a master's, it'd probably be 5.
Do they have a program there that you can just hop right into, or do they?
Yeah, it's a 5-year master program. Okay. But I would have to like commit to it by my junior year or something.
So you still have some time to figure that out.
Yeah, and then my second semester wasn't that bad. I took harder classes my second semester for sure, but the transition phase was from high school to college hit me really hard for a semester, which it sounds like dumb, but like in college you teach yourself. You do not get, like, you do get help from your professors, like I'm not saying you don't, but you teach yourself more so than you get teached. And
you also, I feel like, especially for somebody like you, which I'm saying this because I was the same way, you didn't really have to try that hard in high school.
Yeah, like high school was...
You have a natural intelligence that you could get through in high school. Whereas in college, so when you have that in high school and you never had to learn how to study really, because you never really did it, when you go to college, it's different because you really have to learn to study, because you can't go off what you already know anymore. You have to actually learn the material.
Yeah, and it's
a learning curve.
In college, it's really easy if you're. I know there's like kinetic and like acoustic. If you're like, or whatever the eyesight one is or the listening one is, you know, like the different types of learning, right?
Yeah.
Like I could be. Say I was like an acoustic learner, I could just sit there in high school and stare at the board and just listen, and then there you go. That's all you got to do. Or you could take notes that one day in class and retain the memory. Yes. And for some reason, college is just not like that. And I think it's because it's so fast paced.
Yes, the material is more difficult. Yeah. It's material that, because if you think about high school, you're generally learning things that you've already learned. Like obviously you're learning new things, but it's generally like a lot of reteaching and going over and concepts you've been building on your whole life.
Yeah.
Whereas you're going into college, it's not so much that, especially in your field. You're learning things that you've never learned before.
Yeah, it's like definitely.
It's like not even something similar to what you learned before. Like, okay, if you're in calculus, you've already taken pre-calc and algebra 2 and all these other things that have built onto that, whereas you're not, you don't have that.
Yeah, so my second semester was like physics and calculus 2, and then computer science, where I had to learn like programming,
right?
Like in like a programming language. So that was like all new to me. But I definitely enjoyed my second semester a lot more with my classes because, I mean, I had better grades,
right.
And whatnot. And then, but I got to my finals, and let me tell you, I did not fail an exam all semester, but then I got to my final, and I failed my physics exam. And I needed to get a 70, and I got a 50. So my grade went from a 93 to an 88.
All right,
and it was rough. And I was if I got three more questions right, I would have gotten A in physics. But it's okay. An 88 is still pretty good in physics, and I'll take it.
It's still good. So mine's a liberal arts school. It's like, will you take writing, English, like?
So I took technically my most English class this semester. It's called Nature and Human Values.
Okay, so no, it's not.
No, the closest you'll get to writing is it's a STEM school for sure. The closest you get to writing is like Nature and Human Values, and it's an ethics class.
Okay.
And it's a lot about the engineering ethics and moral ethics that you will encounter once you go into the engineering world.
Right.
So like I had to write a research paper on an ethical dilemma within the engineering community.
Okay.
So which is like really weird to like think about because I don't know. It's just
a lot of people take ethics classes.
Yeah.
It's pretty common. Most majors have like an ethics.
Yeah. And they're like they're called HAS classes, and you have to take like 2, or you may have to take. Yeah, I think you have to take like 3 or 4 depending on your major.
Okay.
So, but I did enjoy it because when I have to write, I don't enjoy it. But if I'm writing about something I'm passionate about,
care about,
it's like different. Yeah. So like my ethical dilemma that I wrote about was like the endangered elements on the periodic table.
Okay.
What
are the endangered elements? Teach me
something.
And the people.
So there are like 118. I'm pretty or like there's something like that. 118. There's like a quote in my head. Anyway, there's like 118 elements on the periodic table, and there's like 40 out of the 118 that are endangered, and they're like
that's kind of a lot.
And there's 8 out of the 44 that are like. That could disappear within the next 10 to 20 years.
Isn't like helium one of them?
Helium's one of them. Then you have gallium, indium.
Okay.
I don't think I could name any more, but if we can read my research paper if we want.
So what happens when these elements go away? Are we gonna die?
So it's not that we would die, but our lifestyles are going to change. Because you take something like indium. Indium is or lithium. Lithium is another one. So let's just take lithium
batteries.
Like lithium-ion batteries, right? That's in our phones. It's in electric cars and whatnot. And if we run out of lithium, what are we going to do, right? So a lot of it is not necessarily like just stop mining the element. We can't use it anymore. It's more about recycling the elements or finding alternative elements on the table that are like similar to them. And then so like taking chemistry, I learned, right? This is something I learned from chemistry.
Okay.
On the periodic table, the way it's set up is so you have an element here, the 4 or whatever is around the element are very similar, right?
Similar properties,
so near lithium is aluminum. No, I know, but I was just saying, like similar properties and whatnot, and like say conductivity, and whatnot. So anyway, take lithium an example. When I was doing my research, it was found that aluminum's very like lithium, which is near on the periodic table. Okay. So they're starting to make aluminum ion batteries instead of lithium ion batteries, and aluminum supposedly has like greater longevity and whatnot.
Okay.
So I mean, but it's more
All right,
so about
I'll
like
get on that.
yeah, it's fine about like it's more about finding alternative resources that you can use as the dying out resources.
So you're telling me that our kids aren't going to be able to use helium balloons?
I don't know. There's like some that are like within, because like there was an article written in like 2018. It was like within the next 10 years something could die out. I don't know. It's in my paper.
Yeah.
I'll link it.
I can tell that
in the description.
You really in the description.
In the description.
I can tell that you really knew the material that you were writing.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it had to be 2,000 words. It was due Friday morning, and I wrote it Thursday night.
I love that.
And Friday morning, actually, because I didn't.
A good old college cram.
Oh yeah,
so,
for sure.
When I was in college, I had the worst sleep schedule of all time. We would literally stay up till 3 o'clock in the morning, and I would get up and go to an 8 a.m.
That's what I did with my roommate. We would play video games.
Yep, we would be watching like shows or just and this was like when Netflix was pretty not new but like relatively new.
And I forgot you're old.
Yeah, I know.
So like when you were in college, it was old. It was new.
A long time ago.
It was like 2 years ago.
No, it was longer than 2 years ago. But anyway, I graduated high school in 2014. So
yeah, so like
8 years ago.
8? Yeah, no, but like 6 years ago you were in college.
Yeah. So Netflix was.
You graduated high school. Holy cow.
Yeah, it's gross.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, it makes me kind of want to throw up. It's actually not 8 years. It would be 7, but whatever.
It's okay. We do math here. We do math here.
But anyway, so we would just watch Netflix shows, and I had the worst sleep schedule of all time. And I remember there was times, this is terrible. I would go back to my room after class, and I would be like, okay, I have like 13 minutes. I can sleep before I have to leave for class. I would sleep for 13 minutes.
I love that.
So it's like extremely unhealthy that I could fall asleep for 13 minutes and get back up, because that means I had to have been quite exhausted to be able to fall asleep that fast. But
I mean, that's just the college life, though. You work with what you're dealt.
So what was your favorite memory that you made over the past year in school?
Oh wow!
I'm putting you on the spot.
I was not prepared for this. Favorite memory. I mean, part of it is definitely Mount Rushmore. That has to be like one of them. I'm gonna name a couple.
That's fine. Well.
One of them is definitely Mount Rushmore. Another one is like just my roommate and I and like a bunch of other guys that like the guys I'm living with. We just like would have nights at like 1 a.m. We would go out on the field and like turn on our phone flashlights, and then we would play spike ball.
Amazing.
Yeah, I mean, like, come on, you know me.
Robbie loves spike ball.
Yeah, I'm a spike ball guru.
Okay.
Guru, yeah. Guru Patik. It's an Avatar reference. Sorry, guys. So yeah, definitely that. And then I made a lot of really good memories with my girlfriend.
Yeah.
That because she lives in Colorado Springs, and there's like really. It's like right by a 14er, like which is a mountain that's over 14,000 feet. It's the summit. Okay. So there's like really cool trails that her and I would drive, and she would like show me her favorite like lookout spots.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
Colorado Springs is a nice area. Did she grow up there?
Yeah, that's where she lives and grew up. And then like I went to Garden of the Gods too, and I think you went when you were
No, we didn't do Garden of the Gods. We didn't have time.
Oh, never mind. But yeah, I made a lot of really good memories with her. But yeah, my roommate, and then like the guys, and then Mount Rushmore.
Yeah, that's cool. So, what are you most excited for next year?
So, living. Oh, okay. So I'm living in a house with 4 other guys. I'm living with me. Mm-hmm. You know, I'll be there. Mm-hmm. It's the house I'm living in. Okay. And then I'm living with my roommate, and then him and I are still gonna room together.
Okay. So what's it, a 3-bedroom house?
No, so it's a 4-bedroom house.
Okay.
4-bedroom, 3 full bath.
Nice.
Very nice, right?
Okay.
So my roommate and I are gonna live together, and then then 3 other guys are living in the house. 2 of them were prior roommates, but they're not gonna room together. They get their own rooms. And then another guy. It's like we had like a group of 5. Well, there's a group of 6 of us, and then we didn't like the one roommate because he was.
Oh, Tim.
No, we just. Well, he joined. So the 5 of us, or no, the 6 of us all got into Kappa Sigma actually.
Oh, okay.
And that was like another way we were all like able to bond, because we were all like in the same freshman success seminar class.
Okay. Ooh, those are the worst.
Mine was awesome.
I hated that class with a burning passion. So I went to a Christian school, for those of you that don't know, and my freshman seminar class, the teacher would start the class by making us all sit on the floor, crisscross applesauce.
Oh yeah, like we're doing right now.
Yes, with a fake candle on the floor, and she would go, breathe in God's will, breathe out everything else, for like 10 minutes, and it was just horrible. I would be like 15 minutes late sometimes to miss that because it was just horrific. And she was the worst. Like, she would give us, so we had to write a lot of papers in the class, I think like 3, because it was like a writing intensive class, which is annoying, but, so she would give us a topic, and it would be extremely like loose, like topic, and then give us no rubric, so we have no like guide to go by, which I'm like, you know, that is not how I work. Like, I need, if you give me a list of rules, I can do anything. You can give me directions, I can do anything you ask me to do. But this was horrible. And we would write these papers, and then she would give us, everyone in the class would get like a 70. And then we would argue with her because, what? Like, you gave us no instruction. Like, how is that fair? How can we possibly get a good grade if you didn't tell us what to do? So then she would let us edit them, and then we'd get better grades and everything. But it was just a horrible experience.
Yeah, it's just annoying. Well, my freshman seminar class was awesome.
Well, that's good.
Yeah, like the first like week we got into like our groups, and then we were able to like play games and stuff to like meet everyone.
Right.
And then once we actually got into like the nitty gritty of class, it was more so about just like, no writing. It was more about like a finding yourself class and like an independence class, and then it was also like a way to teach us how to, you know, register for classes for following semesters, and like teaching us
actually something helpful.
Yeah, teaching us the ways of college.
Not
was
breathing
like,
in God's will and breathing out everything else.
Nope, not that at all. And like it was, so there was 2 like role mentors or like TAs, and then there was like 1 professor, and I loved all 3 of them. They were awesome. And then so one of them was Grant, and he was the one that got the 6 of us to go try out for his because he was in Kappa Sigma, so he was like, come rush, and like, you guys will see me.
Right.
So then the 6 of us went, and all of us got in.
Okay.
And then the 5 of us dropped out, and the 1 kid stayed in. Okay. And once he got in, he became like he, you know,
stereotypical.
Yeah, the very stereotypical frat boy. Okay. So, and he became one of those people, and you know, could have been me, but it wasn't. And so then we just like stopped hanging out with him, because there was like a time where we were like sitting at like lunch or something, and it was the 6 of us, and then I know it's like this is gonna sound super guy, but he was like, you guys aren't my boys, the frat guys are my boys, and we were like, ow.
Okay. See you then.
Yeah, we were like, all right, I'll see you later, man. So then, like, literally after that, because we used to do this thing where we would go to Applebee's every Friday night to get, like, half-Fs, like, and then just, like, hang out and, like, catch up. Yeah. So that was actually another good memory, is when we were doing that consistently, but then we stopped after the first semester. Just because we were busy, and, like, we were taking more credit hours and stuff, so it was harder. Anyway, so we, like, kicked him out of the group after that. So there's a possibility he may have been living with us, but now it's just the 5 of us. Okay. So it's my roommate and me, so we're a pair, and then another pair of roommates, and then a single.
So you're gonna have to like do dishes, and take out the trash, and go shopping, all that fun stuff.
I'm really not excited for it, to be honest with you. but I'm so going back to the point where I was like, because we were in the dorms, super strict with COVID. Yeah. Like, you couldn't have more than like 5 people in a room with all masks on, and if you wanted to sit in the room, you would have to sit like in all 4 corners of the room to take your masks off and eat together in that room, which was like super annoying.
Yeah, that makes it tough to make friends.
I'm
glad that you found a community and you found friends and that, like, you know, you figured it out with, but it'll be better for you to live off campus next year. You won't have to deal with that kind of stuff.
Oh, I don't know, actually, ask me the question were you gonna ask, can I just ask you something?
Yeah, ask me.
Were you gonna ask me anything about, like, my faith while I was at college?
No, but we can talk about it.
Okay, so something that was really cool about being in college was I got to like choose my roommate, right? And all my like there was a roommate application that you would fill out, and there was sliders and stuff. And there was one about like spirituality. I don't remember the exact thing, but something with spirituality. So I put it all the way up because, you know, I'm Christian. Yeah. You know, oh, that was cringy. That was great. Anyway, so then my roommate and I matched because he's a really big Christian. That was something that I loved with like our connection. So then while we were at college, we actually both joined Crew, which is it's just. I don't know what the acronym stands for, but you have Crew and NAB, and they're like 2 big Christian organizations on college campuses.
Yeah, we
college
actually
campuses.
I talked about you on a couple episodes ago about, because we were talking about, somebody had made a comment about how Christian school isn't worth the money, and I was just saying how that you don't have to go to a Christian school to have a Christian experience, and I was saying how you know were involved in the Bible study and all that kind of stuff, even though you didn't go to a Christian school, and I was saying that sometimes it can almost be a better experience at a secular university. But anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, no, for sure. I definitely agree with that. It was really hard at first, but then with my roommate, we were able to keep each other in check, which is something that I was really grateful for. And another one of the reasons that I wanted him to be my roommate is so that we would have that checks and balances, right? Because if you don't have that, you can lose it. It's very easy to stray. Especially
when your whole life, church was something your family did. So if you had to I think when kids make the choice for themselves to go to church, not that you were ever forced to go to church, but it was something your whole family did.
Yeah.
So you didn't have to have you didn't have to rely on yourself to keep yourself on track because your family did that for you. So now you're on your own.
Yeah. So there was, and then actually speaking of that, churches are definitely a very family oriented thing in my life. So my roommate and I ended up it's not that we didn't have time for church, but the weekend is the times we would get to sleep in.
Right, yeah. And you don't have to go to church to have a relationship with God.
And that's also a very true thing. But then
it's
also
important, but it's not the end all.
During the week we would have our chance to Bible study, and Bible study ended up being 2 hours anyway.
Right.
Just because we would finish, but then we would talk about the material.
That's okay.
Yeah, exactly. Basically Bible study was my church because you read scripture and then you analyzed it and tried to understand what it was saying and whatnot. So anyway, that was a really big thing in my life, especially while I was there, because then I got to meet these good people. And then one of our leaders, his name was Christian, funny, but he is actually from Millville or something.
Oh really? That's funny.
I don't know where.
Meet very many Jersey people up in there.
He's not from He's from somewhere down there, Millville or something north, maybe closer to Clayton. I don't really know.
He lives in South Jersey.
Lives in South Jersey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Are you gonna see him this summer?
No.
Okay.
No, probably not. Or maybe, you know what? Maybe I could text them on group me and be like, hey, Christian, you want to hang out, bro?
Well, yeah, that's cool. So, overall, your first year was a good experience. Is there anything else you want to talk about? With school or life or anything?
If you're feeling distraught about whether you want to go away, just do it. Because at the end of the day, if I wanted to leave college and instead go to Rowan, you can do that.
I feel like, I agree. If you have an inkling of, I feel like I want to go away, but I'm not really sure. You're not a slave to the school.
Exactly.
You could go for a year and decide, actually this isn't for me. I'm going to come home and figure out something that's closer to home. Or you could go for a semester and do that too.
Yeah, I think that honestly, that's what happened with my roommate's girlfriend. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. But she was going to Texas or something, and then she didn't like it. So then after the first semester, she came right home to Colorado and went to college in Colorado.
Yeah, it's so easy to change your mind.
For sure. And you have to will you lose money? Sure, but at the end of or maybe you won't lose money. Maybe it'll be a better financial decision. But at the end of the day, it's not about money. It's about you learning what you want to learn and getting the education that you want.
And I always say that money is a renewable resource. There's always a chance to make more money. Time is not.
Very
so
true.
You have to choose wisely. And I think making all your decisions based on money, obviously you need to be wise with your money, but making all your decisions based on money can be a bad one.
Yeah, definitely for sure.
But yeah, I'm glad you went away and got the experience, because I know you were kind of a little hesitant.
I was definitely, especially over the summer, because I know that COVID ruined a lot of things. It ruined my senior year, to add to it. But surprisingly, 2020 summer was one of the best summers of my life.
It was the best summer of my life.
Yeah, it was.
We had such a good summer last summer.
It was a great summer.
And I know that might sound I know for some people it was a really, really difficult time, but in our lives, and his sister Skylar, who's one of my best friends, if you don't know that, we had a great summer.
Yeah,
we did so much stuff.
Yeah, it's a lot of things were closed, but at the same time, things were open, but no one was going to it, so then you could just go to it.
And I feel like it was a very tight-knit group of people that were hanging out a lot because we were trying to keep it be cautious.
Yeah, you wanted
being
it to
around.
be a closed group so that, no one...
I don't know. It was, like I said, like I understand that it was a really tough summer for a lot of people, but thankfully for us, it wasn't that. So I think that made it almost more difficult to leave.
Yeah, especially
things were so good here.
Yeah, and then right before I left, I had like a graduation party too for like high school, because I couldn't have it right at the end of high school because it was when COVID was getting really bad.
Until towards the end of the summer.
Yeah, so then in August, right before I left, it was, like August 2nd, and I was leaving like the 10th or something. And so I had like a graduation party, and then my friend stayed over, and him, like my group of friends that I was hanging out with after the party, like it was one of the greatest weekends of my life. So much fun. And one of the greatest summers of my life. So you're right, I was really hesitant, especially leaving after, such a good time.
Yeah, and I feel like you weren't really talking about it either.
No.
Like, because at the end of last summer, obviously we worked together almost every day. Like, I definitely was here. I pretty much lived here over the summer. So we were pretty close at the end of last summer. We were talking a lot, but you would never talk about it. But I could tell you were, like, hesitant.
Yeah, no, I'm not the type to share my feelings, if you guys know me at all. Definitely not that type. But no, yeah, for sure.
It's easy for you to be like, you know what, I don't want to go.
Yeah. And I mean,
and
honestly,
no one would have been upset with you. It would have been fine. And I think even, like, right up to when we were packing to take you to school, you were kind of like, ugh.
But then I got there and I met my roommate, and I was like, okay, I can do this. And then, I did it.
Yeah.
And
you're going back.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going back. So obviously it was a good enough experience, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, and I'm really, and another thing is, like, now that I'll be living in a house, it's a lot more, like, freedom.
Yes.
And I know that sounds weird, but it's even more freedom than being away.
Especially because of COVID, because you would have had that amount of freedom had COVID not been there, because you wouldn't have had, like, that's where all your restrictions and rules were coming from.
Yeah, so I think now living in my own house with my friends, and then I'm driving out there this summer, so I'll have my own car, so I can go visit my girlfriend when I want, and not when she can come pick me up.
Right, when it's convenient. Yeah. When I don't know if she's in school, but I'm sure she is. Like, her schedule and all that stuff.
And like her work schedule, and I just like felt bad because, like, it was like
she always had to come.
She was chauffeuring me around. Like, come on, I'm the guy. Like, that's my job, right? So, but yeah, I mean, I think this next semester and upcoming academic year is gonna be a lot more fun. But I'm also really excited for the summer, and I'm really happy to be home. And I may pop out on another podcast before I leave. Maybe Kelly will be here. I get to give her a hug.
Yeah, you haven't seen her since you left for school, right?
No, I haven't. Actually, I saw her at game night.
We had a game night
when I was home.
Yeah,
for
we'll have another one.
Christmas. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe we'll record another pod. Who knows?
Who knows?
But I think that kind of wraps it up. Unless you have anything else you want to say.
No, I mean, that's all I got for now. Very talkative this episode. we had a good talk.
Yeah. So, in 2 weeks, I'll be back with Cal. We'll be back in our normal spot. You can.
Oh, this is my house, by the way. I don't know if we said that.
No, I don't think we did.
This is Robbie's humble abode, not Serena's like perfect photogenic room. Your room is like perfect for the podcast. It's like your bed is like the perfect like screen. It's really good.
Yeah.
The backdrop and everything.
It's
just hyping up the.
I worked really hard for that space because you know what? One of these days I'll have to post what it used to look like, and you can understand why I'm so proud of it because we've come a long way. But anyway. You can follow us on Instagram. I will link Robbie's stuff. Go follow him. Follow the college journey. He's not really an avid poster, but you can get a taste here and there. And we'll see you in 2 weeks. Bye.